an area that's classed as a site of special scientific interest in SSSI. You'll see lots of pheasants, very good for wildlife, otters, fox, deer, grass snakes, glowworms. We apparently have a population of glowworms that like to live in the limestone ballast. That's the stones that are used to sort of level up the track, you can see. There's a heritage railway. We do have an interesting problem with that being an SSSI. When we bring ballast in to do the track, it has to be washed, because we have to show it's free from Japanese knotweed or any foreign flowers, weeds or what have you, that's not indigenous to the area. There was a crossing there, you probably saw the gate, and just before we got there you heard the driver toot the whistle, the siren. If you see an SW or a W, that means whistle, and that's usually adjacent to a foot crossing or some form of obstruction. Talk about slate mines and the slate roofs. I think this cottage has got a slate roof. It's a bit more modern where they're all standard sizes. The slate roofs, you used to get slates of all different sizes. So longer ones at the bottom and short ones at the top. Now the sizes, they were actually known as names, and I can only remember a couple of them. There was long bachelors, short bachelors, and the little ones at the top that went under the coping stone. When the roofer was putting them in, he tended to pinch his fingers or whatever because they were small fiddly bits. So they were known as the customs. Curse them, customs. So here's an SW sound whistle board. That cottage and seeing the Welsh sheep, it was the job of the eldest daughter in days gone by to take the wool from the sheep and spin it. So when she went along to the church to get married, that's why she was always announced as a spinster of the parish, because she used to spin the wool. That was the traditional role of the eldest daughter. Trying to fill in before we get to Glynfrydwy. Then you can be thinking of the translation to Glynfrydwy. It's probably not quite the right time of the year, but you quite often see salmon fishermen in the river here. They like the curve of the approach here. And then there's a more popular spot just the other side of Glynfrydwy. We're just approaching the Glynfrydwy outer signal. For the railway enthusiasts, you'll spot that this is an upper quadrant signal. Now, of course, on the Great Western region, signals were usually lower quadrant. But we can't get them all right. Any signal at horizontal is danger. So in this case, we're clear to proceed as an upper quadrant signal. So that's the outer. We're now coming to the home signal, currently still at danger. Now as we come past the signals, see on the left the sort of a cream painted house. Just beyond that, when you look up from the track, you'll see another old tramway. Now in the Berwyn Hills there was another quarry, and the tramway again used to come down to the track and then hence onto the railway for distributing the slate. But the slate here was famous as it was used for billiard tables and the likes. So the sidings here were originally to do with the slate work. So if we look up to the left in a minute, you'll see a telegraph pole and you'll see the remains of the tramway going up the hill. You see a sort of a footpath or a path there running up into the hill. It's the original tramway. So here we're just doing the token transfer. The driver's hanging out to drop off one token and pick up in a minute the second token. Should he miss on this task, we'd have to stop the train and he'd have to get down and go and pick it up. So we just arrived in Glynfrydwy. Translation from the local?
Glynfrydwy is D.
Yes.
I'm not sure for Glyn.
Glyn is Welsh for valley.
So it's
So it's a fish.